All right, I'm gonna go live. Yeah. Hi, 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 hi. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Witch Please, Sunshine's Guide to the Mystical. We are in season 2, episode 4, and I'm pretty excited about today, not only because I get to talk to you about a topic that I really love and adore, but I get to tell you a little bit of story telling, which I'm pretty excited about. And so, yeah, it's Sunshine here, pink-haired psychic medium, high priestess, Reiki master, and you may not have realized it quite yet, but headmistress of Illuminate, the unschool of witchcraft. Uh, and so, yeah, today we're gonna be talking about rituals. We're talking about rituals today, and we're going to start with a little bit of a story. Uh, I live in a pretty decent sized city in the suburbs of Detroit. We're a pretty big size city, and I've lived here or close to it most of my adult life, even my childhood, but most of my adult life. And I say that because the city that I live in has a really wonderful and fabulous adult community education program. So think about, like, if you ever have any of the cities or the towns or the communities that you live in, and maybe they put together courses, programs, or things like that. Like, for example, I've taken belly dancing before. Through the city's community adult education program. I've taken Zumba, different exercise classes. I've taken writing class and art class before, all sorts of various different things. I mean, they have pretty much everything that you could potentially be curious about. I've probably seen come through, the program. And a number of years ago, I noticed that there was a couple locally that was teaching some psychic classes, right? And I thought that was just very curious. And so I decided last fall to reach out and ask them, how do you teach? Like, how do you become instructor? How do you offer a course? Like, what does that look like? And after a really great conversation, and the uh the program instructor saying, let's give it a shot, let's give it a shot, introducing some of what you might want to teach. I have thus far this semester, winter semester was the first time, and I've been teaching a few different things. I have taught a Reiki level 1 certification and had a beautiful turnout for my very first formal, like, public class there. And the next kind of couple of classes, I did a series of 3 different, like, magic related courses. And it's been really incredible. It has been, I mean, just a blessing. It has been such a blessing to have this opportunity and to be able to work with the city and have these, really kind of esoteric, even occult related topics, not shied away from. Because let's be real, if we were to go back 10 years, they might have been shied away from. If we were to go back 20 years, absolutely shied away from. And if we were to go back even, 30 or 40 years, some of these things would have been considered illegal and could even have gotten folks arrested, right? Let's be real. So today we're going to talk about rituals, because this past week, the class that I taught was writing magical rituals. And I just thought that the conversation was incredible and really good, and some of the questions and the things that came up. So I thought you guys might want to hear about that. Right. And as always, we're going to start with the definition, just so that we level set what we're talking about, where we're coming from. And that definition, if you were to go look it up, it's literally a religious or solemn, and literally the meaning of the word solemn is formal. Why they could just use the word formal, I don't know. A religious or solemn ceremony consisting of a series of actions performed according to a prescribed order. Right. And so if we were to go ahead and do that, I myself, as an individual that was raised Catholic, the Catholic Mass is a ritual, right? It is a religious ceremony consisting of a series of actions performed according to a prescribed order. Same thing with Mass, like the marriage ceremony. Uh, Same thing as far as, like, funerals, anything of that nature. If you've ever gone into a church, you're in essence and been in a religious ceremony, you're participating in essence in a ritual, right? You may not have equated it to that. You may not have looked at it like that, but that's what it is, right? They call it mass. And I don't know, I should probably look that up one day. Why do they refer to it as mass rather than a ritual? Who knows? Uh, but that's the definition. And so today, though we're talking about rituals. We're not talking about religion. We're talking about formal kind of rituals. We're not talking about religion. And I really want to kind of emphasize we're talking about a magical ritual. And so my definition there, really simply put, a series of actions performed according to a prescribed order that has magical intentions behind it, right? Has magical intentions behind it. That's what a magical ritual is. It's it's a prescription, right? In other words, you're not going to go, I'll give you an example of a difference between, a ritual. I happen to, on occasion, if I'm driving somewhere and I need to find parking, I'll call upon Mercury and just quickly ask, hey, can you help? Right? That's not a ritual. That's a prayer, right? So to speak. But let's say if every time before I got into my car, I had a series of actions that I performed, to ensure that I was going to drive safe, be able to drive safely, not to get into an accident, and find perfect parking at any time that I was needed. That, in essence, would be like a formal, it's a ritual. It's a set, and it's performed on a regular basis, right? Um, when I asked the question the other night, and I said, "What does ritual mean? Like when you hear the word ritual, can you explain to me what it is?" One of the individuals in class had said to me, "Oh, I get this picture and these images of all of these candles and robes and dark rooms and things of that nature." And don't get me wrong, that is a ritual. Like that is very much like that sounds like a ritual. Like if we think about, we go back to some of these magical orders, we go into the Freemasonry, we go into the OTO, Golden Dawn, any of these society, secret societies or things of that nature. They definitely have rituals that have like passed through generations. There are these ceremonies that are much more elaborate and much more detailed, right? But rituals don't need to be big and elaborate, right? They don't have to be, a room filled with candles and smokes and cloaks and darkness and, all of that kind of stuff. They don't need to be that. They can literally be daily habits, right? Small things that you do on a regular basis, or maybe it's something that you want to start doing on a regular basis and you're going to create a ritual around it, right? They can be these smaller types of things. They can also be things that enable you to do other work. And so when I think of stuff like this, it reminds me of, I've talked to people in the past about kind of creative rituals. So like my partner is an artist. And so a lot of times he'll start to prep all of his, his paints. He'll start to get his canvas ready. He'll get some incense. He'll have that lit. He might light a candle, right? There's literally kind of this like ritual that he does, right? And so if he wanted to put some magical intentions behind it, he could go ahead and kind of turn that in. But he kind of is, right? And the same thing, I've talked with writers before, creatives, they're very much so I think more used to it. But, you can incorporate a ritual to enable you to do any other work, right? Let me be the most productive that I could be today. Let me be the most amazing teammate. Let me be the most amazing mother, right? Whatever it may be. And, before you kind of go about your day. So it could be something that enables you to do some like other work within your life. So maybe not just a daily habit. And they can be really big and elaborate too, right? I once a month. And, I guess maybe the folks that are part of Illuminate Unschooled don't feel it. But I put together a full new moon ritual pretty much almost every month. And these are pretty big and elaborate for me, for me in particular, because I start in essence about 5 days after the last new moon. As the energies start to shift and that moon starts to be seen, I start getting downloads about what the next month's ritual is going to be. And I start talking to my guides and communicating and, testing some of the concepts and intentions that we may want to be setting and doing some of the research. And then I start to go ahead and prepare the actual ritual document, which then gets me into like storytelling and truly making sure that I understand what these intentions are, right? And so that's as, kind of this high priestess, as in bringing folks along, right? Those are pretty darn elaborate rituals for me. But from the folks that are in the program, we set intentions about a week out, an intention setting workshop. And then, on the new moon, we conduct ritual and it takes us about an hour. And so they may not see that as being as elaborate. So, you could have something that's just one day, or like, for example, that I'm sharing, you could have something that's multiple days. that takes a lot more time, preparation. And I think all of those preparations are all part of the ritual. I really do. I think they're just as important as the actual conducting of that, whether it's a 10-minute, 15-minute, hour-long ritual that you might do, right? You can also have some type of ritual that's, multiple days, maybe even months. And I've thought about this too, and I think it'd be interesting, anybody that's listening, even to reach out and share their opinions with me on this. Is there a big difference between a ritual and a spell work? And I do think that spell work is often incorporated into a ritual. And so I'll give you an example of what I mean by this, right? They're similar, but there is some difference. I can have the ritual of waking up in the morning, pouring a glass of water, right? And allowing, as I'm drinking it, just, sipping on it, just saying, may it be the best day ever. May my emotions be clear. May my vision be clear. I might have just this regular kind of general, ritual that I do. But a spell, in essence, to me, is going to start to incorporate multiple pieces within it, right? In order to kind of like really focus that energetic. And so you could incorporate spell work into a ritual, right? But you're not going to, so it's kind of like a little bit of, they're not mutually exclusive, so to speak. I hope that helps. But I'd love anybody's opinion, because I've given a lot of thought to this over the years, like what truly is the difference? Because as a witch, I do ritual and I do spell work. And sometimes I do spell work in ritual, right? So which begs the question, why would I be sharing any of this with you? Why does it matter for those of you that are listening? And so the very first thing that I would encourage you, if you're trying to incorporate more magic into your life, you're trying to embrace more of your witchy side, more of your witchy self, you really, really, truly want to do this, I encourage you to start small, right? I think often we think that, when we want to step into our witchy powers and our witchy gifts, that we've got to go out and I've got to buy more crystals and more candles and more incense. And got to buy a theme and a cup and a chalice, and I've got to buy tarot cards, and I've got to do all of these things. That's not the case. That's not the case. You can start to incorporate rituals into your daily habits, right? So think about teeth brushing to start. Let's say you are trying to speak up for yourself more. Maybe you're truly trying to, assert yourself more, speak your truth, be much kinder to yourself as to maybe how you're speaking to yourself. Maybe it's something of that nature. And so as you're literally brushing your teeth, maybe you have a little tiny, spell that you have written, okay, that you're saying. When you're literally saying, like, may my words always be clean, kind, and, comforting to me and to those that I love, right? So that's like one thing that you could do. Face washing could be another thing. May everybody see me for exactly who I am. Putting your seatbelt on. I know that is one thing. One suggestion that I made to someone, when they had given me the example that they were struggling for a regular protection ritual, and I said, "Well, do you drive?" "Yeah." I said, "Do you drive every day?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, as you're putting your seatbelt on, just visualize, picture, and maybe even state out loud that is your protection." Right? Incorporate some kind of like ritual that you want, spell that you want, to one specific daily ritual that you have, daily habit. Stirring coffee, that's a big one. When I know I've got a big day and I need to focus, I'll actually stir my coffee and ask for focus and productivity. And I know a lot of people probably already have, nighttime rituals, but thinking about that there, right? I let go of everything that may have troubled me today. I, release all of my worries, all my shame and my guilt, so that I may start my day over, with a clean slate tomorrow. Those can be things that you're kind of incorporating and doing. So you may have some daily habits that are really easy to turn into a magical ritual, right? And that's small, right? This is literally, I love this concept so much. This is what I've referred to in the past, that one of the other kind of like magical kind of businesses that I was operating at some point was called Magical Moments, because I wanted to share all of these possible opportunities that you could do at any time. You have literally throughout the day so many opportunities to incorporate magic into what you're doing, right? And not a single one of them needs to include going out and buying another candle, incense, gem, crystal, anything. right? Nothing. You may also have some interest in writing your own rituals, right? So let's be real. I've talked to a handful of folks and they're like, yeah, no, not any interest in it, don't want it. I love it. I absolutely love it. Incorporates two things that really motivate me, that I'm very passionate about, and that's research and learning new things, as well as teaching and kind of instructing others. So I get to incorporate both of them when I do ritual. Right, when I'm actually creating and leading a ritual, I get to like do the research, and then I get to actually instruct, so to speak, to lead. So you might hesitate right now, though. You may be thinking about it, you may be curious about it, you may be wanting to do it, but you might hesitate because you don't want to do it the wrong way. And don't get me wrong, there are literal formal directions and descriptions that you can use if you wanted to create and establish a ceremonial magic related ritual. There's a certain prescribed step that these are actually often created in. And you can always reach out to me and ask for that, right? Headmistress@illuminateunschool.com. But I can't emphasize enough, if you lean into your intuition, to your psychic abilities, if you talk to your higher self, your guides, your ancestors, whoever it is that you may work at, you want to pull some cards to do this. If you lean in and truly listen to your own inner self, you'll be able to create that ritual. And it'll be the most potent and powerful ritual that you could ever possibly, perform, because you've created it. It's come from you. You gave birth to it, right? If you want some help, as I said, you could always reach out and ask for it. You could go search online. You might be able to tap someone else, maybe ask somebody to review it, maybe ask a fellow witch to say, hey, I'm writing this ritual. I was thinking about X, Y, and Z. What else might you include into it? Right? And another reason why I'm sharing this with you is that you may have found a ritual that you like already found another one. And you might want to do it and you're wondering whether or not you can, right? If you found one, stumbled across one, and you're being called to do it, absolutely you can. The only person that's going to put a wall in between you being able to do that ritual and you not being able to do that ritual is yourself. That's it. Right? You absolutely can. Now, mind you, there are some rituals that have been written out there that this is my own. This is my warning that's coming out. Some of these older magical books, even though they have rituals written down in them, they will not write the actual correct ritual, because a lot of people in the past were very protective about magic. Right. So, take that with a fair warning. Take that with a grain of salt. Any other ritual that was written by somebody else, just know. And so I'll tell you what may happen is you may read it, you may look at it, and you may be like, I love it, but I want to tweak this. I want to change this. Is that okay? Is that okay? Can I do that? Absolutely, you can. I even, and it's really beautiful, and I see it every single month practically. I literally create ritual every month. I write it, it's formal. And people will say, well, but I didn't do that. I did this instead. But I didn't do that. I did this. Oh, I wanted to do this, but I figured this was going to actually, and this is what I had. And I'm like, awesome. I love that. What a great addition. Right. So you totally can. If you found something else that you wanted to tweak or anything like that, you absolutely. So yeah, ritual is a very big, I consider myself a ritualistic witch. It's a very big part, the things that I do. I'm a chaos witch in a lot of components, a lot of ways too. That's why I refer to myself, I suppose, as an eclectic witch. But I love ritual. I really do. I think it's helpful. It's beneficial. It helps me to feel alive. And, frankly, putting this together, once a week or whenever I can, this is another kind of ritual. So yeah, I would encourage all of you that have ever contemplated stepping in and doing a ritual, obviously to start small, find one of your daily habits and put some magical intentions into it. And then as you start getting your steps underneath you and your feet moving forward and you're really loving it and digging it, try writing something for yourself that's maybe a little bit more elaborate. Maybe you have some work or something that you try to have to do and you write something to help enable that. Or maybe you've got a bigger change that you want to shift. Whatever that may be, lean into your intuition, my dear witches, because you know what is best for you. That being said, that is enough for this week. Much love from me to all of you, and we will talk to you again very soon.